the news to your door. Breaking news, top headlines, the big story, the latest update, and all you need to know are only available on the African Actions Network, 2A Radio and TV.
All right, I guess we can go ahead and get started. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Borby Broplay. I'm going to be the host tonight on the Business and Economic Forum on 2A Radio. And with me here tonight is special guest Mr. Ali Mazaleh, who is the head of the Liberian Leadership Summit. And I'm going to give him a minute to properly introduce himself. Welcome, Ali.
Uh, Thank you, Bobby, for having me on the show. Uh, to you in radio land or internet land, my name is Ali Masaleh. I'm the founder of the Liberia Leadership Summit. The Liberia Leadership Summit brings together leaders from the diaspora and leaders from Liberia under one umbrella to discuss leadership development with emerging leaders, religious leaders, market leaders, student leaders in Liberia. So they provide key information that help with leadership skills and present the opportunity for people to network. So
Thank
that's
you very much. I think leadership, especially with regards to youth leadership, is probably one of the main areas that can help Liberia develop. What are some of the strategies you're utilizing to do that?
well. First of all, I must commend the youth of Liberia. You know, when you're not in Liberia or you're not familiar with Liberia, sometimes you think that the youth are not up to the challenges in Liberia. But I can tell you, based on the experience and based on the case study from our first um, summit that was held in Liberia in December last year at the Beta Casa Hotel, the youth, some of the youth, they are involved, they are interested in developing their skills, and so they just need, I think, platforms. They need the opportunity. They need mentorship. And there are people who is putting them in the right direction. But I can tell you, these guys are, for the people we interacted with or that came to the concert, they were very ambitious. They wanted to know, life skills, leadership skills that will help them for the challenges to come. So I think some of the things that we can do is to create a platform, create this environment that we can bring them together and just teach them these necessary skills that they can implement in their everyday life, and they can implement it in their businesses, implement it in whatever position they find themselves in. Also, I can encourage people to at least have a mentorship program that people, you can pick one or two youth and start to mentor them, and pointing them in the right direction. I think that would be a good start for us.
Yeah, that's excellent. When you mention some of the things you're doing for the youth in Liberia, uh, I'm looking at some research here. But first, I'll ask you, what do you classify as a youth, or what age range would you consider youth in Liberia? And then I'll ask my follow-up question.
Well, I think is I might not know the exact age range. I mean the age, but I know maybe the range of the age. I think is something, should I say, a little bit of a controversy when it comes to the age in Liberia, because we go by the United Nations standards, and the United Nations has a standard and the gap for Africa or for Liberia to be specific is kind of a wide gap. And
Well, let me point it out because I did pull it up. So uh, this is from 2021
mm,
census. 41.01%
mm,
of the population are ages 0 to 14 years old, and
mm,
then 25% from 15 to 34.
okay,
That means most of the country is young. It's youth.
yeah, but
You have a huge
is
challenge on
that
your
the,
hands.
is that the age is that the age range for youth? I think that age range starts from 20 something to, should I say, maybe 35 or 40. But looking at that, I think youthfulness is, I would say, mentality, because there are people in other areas or in other society, let's say developed countries, that are
Hmm.
doing bigger things. They are facing the challenges. Like we all know, I think we have the first millennium as a representative representing at South Carolina or North Carolina, one of these states in
Hmm.
America. Yeah. So
Hmm.
it just depends. But I think is not in Africa, because we have a lot of challenges with quote unquote infrastructure and opportunity. The age of becoming the age for youth is just too old to me, and that's just my opinion. Like you will have somebody like I have my nephew. We are of the same age because I'm the last from my parents, so I have older siblings. He still believe that he's youth, and he still relying on opportunities. I mean, handouts from family members because quote unquote he's youth. So to me, it's just a mentality. I know I'm not youth.
So the mindset is an issue in Liberia when it comes to
Yeah.
classifying who's a youth and who's an adult.
Yes.
Um,
And I think the United Nations is facilitating that too. So
oh,
especially
really? In what way?
because they
Explain.
got an age range for what they consider as being youth in Liberia. So I don't know the exact age, but I think it's from 20 to maybe 35 or 39 years old. You can have somebody who's
Okay.
in their late 30s and you call them age. To me, I mean youth. To me, that person would be your either or man or woman if you want to, but you can do that.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
what
that's
criteria.
an adult. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, let's dig a little deeper into your program and some of the things that you're. I know you kind of touched a little bit on it, but let's dig a little deeper and see how, number one, you're getting the youth to engage in more leadership and developing these soft skills and hard skills, and then also we'll shift a little bit to economics.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm of the school of thought that everything rises and falls on leadership. And so if you want to be successful in life, you have to be a leader. And I think everyone is a leader or everyone can be a leader, because at the core of leadership is just influence, maybe having influence on something. So if I say everyone is a leader, you might not have the position as a leader or the title as a leader, but you have the responsibility as a leader, whether you know or not. Because if you are coach, for instance, or your big brother, you have siblings after you, or your big sister, you have sibling after you that you will have to lead. Or even if you say you don't have nobody, you have to lead yourself. So I think that's the whole thing about leadership. So we just trying to, first of all, work on the mindset. We're trying to do this mindset shift to see people, for people to see themselves as leaders. And so if you see yourself as a leader, you know there are responsibilities that comes with leadership. And then we can start to work on to build that character or that competence that will enable you to be a good leader. So,
Excellent. So working on the minds and changing minds more or less.
Yes.
It's one of the strategies that you're utilizing.
Yes.
Um, I mean, I have to say, Liberia is a third world country, and I mean, I'm not gonna be around the bush. Things are tough.
Yes.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
things are tough for everybody, especially for the youth.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the challenges that you face when trying to get youth together
Mm-hmm.
to even listen to you and even want for their minds to be changed? What kind of challenges and how are you overcoming those challenges?
Okay, so that's a good thing. One thing I would say, maybe the infrastructure challenges and the lack of opportunities. These are two major stuff challenges that I think. So
What
when
type of opportunities are you talking about? Let me.
opportunities for employment per se,
Okay, job opportunity.
opportunities for people who have that skill set. There are not enough school or reputable school that teaching people exactly what they need to thrive in life. Even if they go to school, you leave school, you come back, you graduate, there's not a lot of employment opportunity for for you
So even if
to.
you did get the training and the education,
Mhm.
employment is still an issue.
Yes, yes, yes. And people,
What
if
are
you
you
don't,
doing to what are you and your organization doing to address that particular issue, the
yeah,
issue
like
of employment?
we are a new from organization, but we have maybe one or two connections. I mean, if you come to our program or you come to our workshop and we see that you are, you know, serious and not just curious, and we see that you are trying to implement the teachings that we're giving you, maybe we can talk to friends who have organization, and we can just place you there, so
Make
that
the
you can,
connection.
yeah, you can work, there and learn from some of these people. But like I'm saying, it's a challenge, Bobby, because if somebody don't have food to eat, and you
Hmm.
telling them about leadership and telling them to do the right thing, character
It's
building,
tough.
it's kind of tough because
It's
it's
tough.
easier for somebody to, kind of compromise their character, uh, because their livelihood depend only as compared to somebody who already, have a means, you know,
Hmm.
for
So
livelihood.
there's no foundation to even build upon. There's no security in terms of livelihood and even food. I mean, if you're hungry, you
Yeah,
can't teach a hungry person anything.
yeah. I mean, and it's going to take a lot of, you know, endurance, virtue to just resist the temptations that come with, for instance, corruption in
to, to
Liberia.
do the wrong thing.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
do the wrong thing.
And
So,
criminal activity and theft and all of that.
yes.
But let
And
me let me shift focus a little bit here.
mm,
Um, I mean, if you were able to speak to the leadership of Liberia, how can they utilize this huge, energetic, youthful population to to generate economic activity and economic growth?
well, I would say create more opportunities for them, and let's do things based on merit. Get a merit based system in Liberia that will encourage people, number one, to do the right thing and be able to, survive from doing the right thing. But now,
Well, specifically, I'm looking at somebody in national leadership trying to figure out a way to utilize this youthful population to spur economic growth
mm,
or economic activity.
mm,
How could they do it?
how can they do it?
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that just pops in my head is maybe agriculture,
Yeah, I
because
record.
agriculture is something that's needed and it also requires a lot of manpower and youth energy, to carry out. So that's one sector. Maybe you can speak a little bit about that or any other sectors that might be applicable.
Yeah, I would say agriculture, that's a good sector because I mean we all have to eat. So
Yeah.
if you create that means people will buy food, people will get work, and so the data might circulate. It will boost the economy when it comes to revenue generation also. But also I would say engineering because that's my main background. I'm from engineering, science, technology, and STEM. That's it, engineering and
Can you tell me about that and how STEM, which is science,
technology,
technology, and E is for what?
engineering.
Engineering and math. Okay,
Yeah,
STEM.
yeah.
How can that help to drive economic activity in Liberia?
Because Liberia is not developed. That's the first thing.
Okay, so there's an
So
opportunity.
it's an opportunity. If you talk about
Okay,
engineering, if we have a regulated engineering society in Liberia, and not people just doing things out of their own mind, like if we have a governing body that will regulate who design houses, who build houses, people can be able to be rewarded for the work they do. So instead of a plumber designing your house and building your house, you will go to an architect. So that's engineering. So if I go to school for architecture, I sure will have, you know, people out there that are willing to employ me to design their homes and kind of stuff. That's money coming to me. Instead of taking the money to go to a carpenter to, I'm not looking down on a carpenter, but a carpenter cannot do engineering or architect work. So
that's
the
not
people,
their that's not their field. Yeah.
yeah. So it's just creating
Well, what if
opportunity.
let me just play the devil's advocate. So you're taking something that a plumber is doing that they're not supposed to be doing. Let's say they're supposed to be focusing on plumbing, but
Yeah,
here they are helping to design the whole house.
yeah.
Now, if you take that away from the plumber, aren't you taking food from that plumber's mouth?
No, because he still has a skill as a plumber, so you don't have to design the house to do the plumbing of the house. I can design the house as an architect. I'm not going to do the plumbing, so I can hire you
Oh,
to be my
my
plumber.
understanding was he was making extra doing
Eh,
the
eh, eh,
designing of the house.
Yeah, but then is that's safety. We talk about safety, and that's the
Yeah.
reason why our houses in Liberia. There are a lot of things that go into the designing of a house. You have to take into consideration orientation. For some houses, you
Hmm.
got to take into consideration the loads. All these factors. Elements. You have to take care the wind, all these, even the soil. A plumber ain't going to think on all that. He's just going to draw you a
No.
box and just partition it, and you just so it's not
Yeah,
something that they can do.
that's interesting.
But now
Well,
let me let me
Mr.
just go back to
Mazel,
the regulation. So
sure.
if it's
Hmm.
well regulated, people will get compensated for the work they do. So plumber, instead of you getting just behind the side money or just letting cold water, there will be a pay scales for a plumber, and they will gonna be improved because it's regulated. We want you to do a good job. So
And the homes will be safer as
yeah.
well. I definitely agree with that.
Mhm.
So let's shift focus a little bit to the upcoming elections. As you know, Liberia is about to engage in presidential elections. I believe in October.
Mhm. Yeah.
So my question to you is: looking at such a large population of youth, what should the youth be looking for in terms of selecting the next leader? What kind of person should they be looking for? And then maybe we can talk a little bit about voter registration, other things. But go ahead.
Yeah. So my position and my organization, we are apolitical. We don't tell people who to vote for, but we
Mhm,
give you traits of a good leaders that you can look into. And there are people say leadership, success leaves clues or has clues.
mhm,
So there are clues that you can see. So if I'm looking for a leader, I look for one character in your leader. If people in your district that you voted for last election told
mhm.
you that they were going to build fast school in your district, and this time around they come back to you, and you have not seen from last election if they have built even one school. You can point your finger to that. I don't think that's a good leader that you want to have, because that leader is not,
They failed you the first
yeah,
time.
yeah, don't, and doesn't have the integrity. He doesn't have a character of a good leader. One of the character of a leader, it should be man of your word. If you say you're going to do this in leadership, you have to do this. So that's something that you will look for, character.
I
And
agree.
yeah, the next thing you can look for, competence. I mean, if the person, I mean, education plays a big role, because leadership is about decision making. So if
Hmm.
somebody come to you and you know by that credential they are not qualified, that's something you need to look into. Now, not to say that people are wise, with or without formal education, but you got to be very careful when it comes to credentials. Look at people credentials and see if they are a better leader. Mm.
Wow, that's amazing. Um, it begs the question: why do you think it is that time and time again the youth seem to be electing or selecting these same leaders um, back to office?
Well, I don't know if it's this Stockholm syndrome or so, but I think Liberia, that's why we talk about the mindset of Liberia. People they forget, or sometimes they kind of mortgage their future for today. So these people come back with the same tricks, come back during election time, bring you back or rest, maybe give you $10 and kind of stuff like that, and just influence you or encourage you to vote for them. And you forget that.
And by the way, it's not just elected leadership, but it probably could be applied to leadership everywhere.
Yeah.
Liberians tend to bring the same old leadership style, the same old leaders back to rule them over and over again.
Yeah, that's familiarity. People are comfortable with, people,
Who they
that they
know.
are familiar with, and
Okay.
kind of stuff like that. And besides, I think these leaders too, sometimes they instill fear in people.
Hmm.
You better vote for me, you vote for me. Or they play dirty politics. Sometimes they come
Okay.
about tribalism, they kind of say, paint the other tribe as their demon, and paint
Hmm.
yourself as your savior. So now you
Okay.
just rely on them to save you from the quote unquote unforeseen enemy. So sometimes,
Okay.
yeah. And again, our the
Never thought of it that way.
education, yeah, the education of our people, and besides, sometimes our people are so forgiving. Also, so there are a lot of factors that plays into convincing them to vote over there. That's why you hear you came my
When you
man.
said they're forgiving, what do you mean?
You hear
Explain.
you heard you came my man, you came my pa. I will vote for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's like,
I
I
see.
forgive you for killing mama. I forgive you for killing my pa, but I'm still
Wow.
I'm gonna vote for you. So I mean, yeah, quote unquote.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
man, do you think too that maybe what's going on in these young people's minds is maybe what they see, they think that is an example of the only kind of leadership that there is.
yes,
So
and
they
that's
don't
what.
have any other option. They have
Yeah,
never seen anything better, so they just accept what's in front of them. Do you think that could be the case?
yeah. That could be the case. So let's talk about exposure. Once you get exposed to good things, you
Hmm.
can get unexposed, and so that's
Exactly.
yeah. So that's what the Liberian Leadership Summit is coming. It's all about. We're just trying to expose people to better options. We're not going to tell you say vote for this, but we're going to give
Yeah.
you that filter, so that when somebody comes to you, you're going to filter them and see if they meet the criteria of what we call, quote unquote, a good leader. And we are not even talking about a perfect leader, because there's no such thing as a perfect leader.
A perfect
We are
leader.
talking about trusted leaders, people that you can trust. So that's
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
I think what you're doing is a very, very good thing. The Liberian business, sorry, the Liberian Leadership Summit. I mean, just creating that exposure, helping kids to see another way, a better way to do things, and better examples to follow. I think it's pretty amazing. How do you support this operation?
Currently, it's just me and my wife running. That's we
Wow.
do. Yeah, I mean, it to me. This was like a
Are
calling.
you a 501c3 registered here in the U.S.?
Yeah, we're trying to get that registered. We're not
Okay.
registered yet, but we're trying to do that. So yeah, yeah, is the thing. I'm actually giving back to myself because growing up, I mean, I had the potential, but I didn't have a better leadership, so I kind of
Okay.
sway away. So
Mm.
I'm trying to just be that person I needed when I was, a youth or so for other people. So
How
the whole
much? How much has it cost you so far to
uh,
uh, to run these two summits that you've ran?
no, we only did one, but it
Oh, you did
pretty
one summit? Okay.
yeah, it cost close to 10,000 because we had
Wow.
to fly into Liberia. That's
Yeah,
plane
that
tickets.
alone.
Yeah, yeah, we had to book the hub. We feed our people. They come there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, they come there.
That's critical because it at
Yeah,
least going to the summit, you don't have to worry about.
no, we
Uh,
give breakfast and lunch, and even serve dessert or so. So I mean, it's
wow.
just we trying to create an environment of excellence. We just don't want to bring you and tell you, see, we want to make you see this is possible. You know, you can come to a conference, you can eat, you can have fun, you can enjoy yourself, and you can still learn. Good things. You don't
How
have to.
many days was the conference?
If the conference was one day, but now we're
Okay,
trying to. We the next one we are planning. We are in the stage of planning right now. So we are doing it for 2 days. So
two
this
days.
time, yeah, this time around, we want to bring more high school students. So like the first day, we're going to do maybe like a career day, bring enough high school students who don't know what they want to do when they leave high school. So we have geologists, we have engineers, we have various kinds of experts to talk to you, and maybe from there you can say, okay, this one suits me, and we can ask these people to be your mentors. So that's what we. And the next day we bring in business leaders, religious leaders, just everybody just come in and we just have a blast.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And you mentioned something earlier that young people who show some potential, there's going to be a possibility for you to maybe connect them to internship opportunities and work opportunities and such. Have you actively started down that road? And if so, what do you need? If
Yeah.
not, what do you
So
need?
yeah, we started. We have a kid. We had a kid that walked from West Point, and during a break, we were eating lunch. He was sitting by himself. I went and sat on the table and just started to talk to him. He told me he wasn't in school because he didn't have the means. Again, we go back to the opportunities. He didn't have the means, so we took him on our umbrella. My partner in Liberia is an engineer, and he's kind of mentoring. We paying his school fees, and all this kind of stuff. So this is what we're going to be doing. Just pick people, and I'm even in contact with some amazing people that have that organization too that reaching out to me for advice, and kind of stuff like that. I'm not going to say I'm mentoring them, but when they want my input or advice, I just give it to them because I want them to win.
Okay, that's amazing. Wow. This issue of the youthful population, economics, youth employment. I'll tell you what, Ali, what I hear when I hear Liberians talking about job creation. Uh,
Mm.
it seems to me that many times we don't look at the economic value of these jobs.
Mm.
because there has to be an incentive to the person creating the jobs, right?
Yeah.
So there should be some economic value. I don't know if somebody will be that committed to sacrificing all their time just to create a job. And even if you do create a job, shouldn't that job be viable and self and sustainable?
Yeah. So you talk about farming or agriculture. That's
Mm-hmm.
something that anybody can do. And I mean, I think you can have a return on investment because let's say, for instance, our rice, our staple food, we import it. So if you have a
Mm-hmm.
farm planting rice in Liberia over there, we will eat the rice. And so you're going to have incentive if the government can, create some incentive for you that maybe you kind of give you some tax breaks and kind of stuff like that. And the government should make it at least feasible, be flexible when it comes to opening company in Liberia because I don't want to go through all the hoops just to open your company. So, I mean, the government should be able to do that. I think that's one of the things that bad people that stop people. If you talk to people, to because you go to any ministry in Liberia, try to get your documents, you have to, give somebody cold water and kind of stuff like that. That kind of deter you, from doing business. So the government should create an environment that will make it easier for people to
For
want.
people to do business, and that was their
Mhm.
um hmm. What do you think is the biggest thing that prevents the government from opening things up more or making it easier to do business?
I think it's selfishness. Everybody's selfish. Everybody want for themselves and not for the whole country. So
Okay.
if you can satisfy me, even if it's going to bring, employment to 50 other people in your district, if you can pay my quote unquote chopping, I won't approve you. So I'm
Hmm.
selfish enough to allow other 50 people to suffer because I don't want. So I think Liberia, we just need to, you know, put the country first or put the people that we say we are that elected us, put their interest over our interest. That's leadership, you know. So we need to do that.
Wow, thank you. And we'll be wrapping up here very soon, but this conversation is becoming more and more interesting.
Mhm.
I ran a program in Liberia that you're quite aware of, ISEC.
Yeah, I
And
said,
yeah, this organization promotes youth development
yeah.
uh, through international work exchange programs.
Mhm.
And I was just thinking, that seems to be more and more relevant in Liberia today, wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
To get people that level of exposure, and to also the second part is bringing young students in to the country, right?
mhm.
Where they can also bring in new ideas and influence. What do you think about that?
Yeah, ASEC is a good program. I mean, when I was in college, I wanted to be ASEC. Unfortunately, I wasn't qualified according to your standard. Well, again, you are right. Uh, uh, yeah, I don't take it personally, but I think that was a very good program. And you
Okay.
see, I knew what the potential I had. I just needed an environment that will help me
Okay.
shape that potential. So that's why it attracted me to ASEC. So I think ASEC is very good. I know people who were part of ASEC and I know how it's helped them. Even I got a friend, Omodere girl also. She was a part of,
Okay.
yeah, ASEC, and
Yeah.
I think she's doing good, you know.
Yeah. It takes a sacrifice. So I bring up ISEC because that's where, with an organization like ISEC, you really don't depend on the government
Yeah,
for support. Okay, they depend more on the private sector.
yeah,
So it's a question of the private sector recognizing the importance of their next wave of employees
yeah.
and helping in the development process. So how can they play a bigger role in organizations like yourself and organizations like ISEC? Because
I think
the government can't do everything.
Yeah, I think one of the things that they can be able to do is just support these organizations so that they can have the means to reach out to people, especially when they align with your value as a company, you know. So Liberian Leadership Summit is coming up. We are planning now this year. We anticipate the price is going to be higher than what we spent last time. Hopefully, we can have some of these big organizations like Lone Star Cell, Cellcom, Firestone, or whatever the company is, to just partner with us. Maybe even pay for the children to come over. So one company can say, okay, we will send 50 students over there to you, and maybe we can, from that 50 student, we take five to,
Okay.
yeah. So that's
What is the
something.
age range for the youth that you encourage to participate in your summit?
I will encourage people from 13, you know.
Oh wow,
Yes,
that's
I
quite
encourage.
young.
Yeah, I encourage people from 13 because we are here, Bobby. We see what 13 years olds are
Yep,
doing.
what they're
Yeah,
doing here.
yeah. So it's not different. I'm telling you, if you put our 13 years old in the same environment, they will succeed. So
They
we
can
just need
perform.
that. Yeah, we just need that. So I think the kid will we are helping right now. I think he's either 16 or 17 years old. But it's because of his
Okay.
ambition, his drive. Walking from West Point to Peracasa at 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, that's tells me that he's very serious about his life. So we're gonna help.
How many miles is that? Just for
Uh, if I would guesstimate, maybe around 10 miles, depending on where they live. Also,
wow,
yeah,
10 miles.
yeah,
That is that
yeah,
is amazing.
yeah. That's
Wow, wow, wow.
yeah.
10
So
miles just to attend a leadership
yeah,
forum. You
it
can see the potential that young person has.
yeah. I mean, and that what really captured my attention because I don't think when I was at the age I would walk 10 miles for anything unless maybe a party or so. But
Yeah,
yeah,
some
yeah,
enjoyment.
yeah, to go to a leadership summit. He said he woke up early in the morning. He didn't even tell his mom because he didn't want her to
Him
tell him
know.
not to go. Yeah. So yeah, that's
Anyway, we got to wrap this up, Mr. Mazzoli. Can you um can you give me some closing statements?
yeah. I just want to thank
Okay, go
platform like this for giving us the opportunity to just share what we got going on. And we encourage you guys at least to make this do this often and make it available for other organizations who's trying to help Liberia or impact the people in Liberia. Just give them the opportunity to come over here to do this because this will only amplify our voices and help us achieve our goal. Also, our Liberian Leadership Summit, we are planning our second summit for this year. Is going to be in September if the Lord tarry. We just asking people to just come out support us. You support us with finances because we spend our own money. You can support us with sponsorship. We're going to do merch too.
How
You
can they support you?
you can buy
If
a t-shirt. With the website is on construction. As soon as we finish that, then we'll publish that, and you can go there to just donate to our
okay,
organization.
well, do you have a Facebook page or
Yeah,
LinkedIn page or anywhere that they can contact you?
yeah. I have a Facebook group, and it's the Liberian Leadership Summit.
Okay,
Yeah, you can just go there and contact us from there.
Liberian Leadership Summit.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Mm.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mazale. It was a pleasure having you here today. We learned a lot. I'm sure the audience benefited a lot. And we'll be back, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back next week, same time on 2A Radio for the Liberian Business and Economic Forum. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great night. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Mazale.
you, Mr. Bobler. See you guys. Bye.